Kansas governor vetoes a bill that would ban transgender athletes from competing in girls' sports. PSU students work to raise awareness on how their community is helping the planet on this Earth Day.
There's a new inclusive playground at Joplin's Landreth Park. You'll learn why the city made the upgrade coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
The Kansas governor vetoes legislation that would ban trans student athletes from competing in girls' sports. This is KOAM News at 10. In a statement after she vetoed the bill, Kansas Governor Laura Kelly said, quote, "As Kansans, we should be focused on how to include all students in extracurricular activities rather than how to exclude those who may be different than us. Kansas is an inclusive state and our laws should reflect our values. This law does not do that." Supporters of the bill still could try to override her veto and try to persuade a handful of moderate Republicans who either voted against the bill or abstained to switch. In order to override, supporters need to pick up only one more vote in the Senate, but they need 8 more in the House. No Democrats voted for it. A Missouri Senate Budget Committee votes against funding the voter-approved Medicaid expansion. The budget panel voted 7-7 on a Republican-sponsored proposal that would have set money aside to pay for the program. The tied vote means the proposal failed. Missouri voters last year amended the state constitution to extend government health care to thousands more low-income adults. But now the legislature is arguing over whether to pay for it. The leader of the Budget Committee says it's now up to the full Senate to make a final decision on funding for the program. A new law in Oklahoma grants immunity to drivers who unintentionally injure or kill protesters while attempting to flee a riot. It also stiffens penalties for people who block roadways in an effort to protest. Dylan Richards has details.
Yeah, the bill essentially says that if a driver in some circumstances gets surrounded by a riot on the road, they're legally protected if they try to escape that riot and injure or kill someone in the process. The bill, a reaction to this incident in Tulsa that involved a clash on the highway between a driver and demonstrators who had spilled out onto the road.
The kids cowered in the back seat because they feared for their lives. Yes, this family had to injure somebody on the way out, but they shouldn't have to be worrying about that. They should be worrying about getting their kids to safety.
Democrats questioning whether that incident relates to this bill and questioning why this bill is needed, considering the driver in that case wasn't charged anyway.
We can make sure that the next prosecutor doesn't feel compelled by some other motive to file charges.
Also discussion today about how to define a riot and how painful that word can be.
This is a sensitive word. This is a sensitive issue. And I'm a black man. And that's who's being killed, unarmed. And the people in my community, they are not in this. They can't pass these laws. All they can do is gather and let people know that they're upset.
These protesters interrupted lawmakers at the Oklahoma State Capitol yesterday in opposition to that bill. About 24 participants filed onto the 5th floor of the Capitol. They chanted, "No justice, no peace," and "Black Lives Matter." A couple of protesters say they were asked to leave, and this video shows an apparent shouting match. After a few minutes, House lawmakers resumed their work. Doug Heddy joins us. It's trying to rain out there in parts of the area, Doug.
It is. We're getting some light showers across the region, and this is going to stick around really tonight, tomorrow night into Saturday morning. But at least our temperature is starting to go in the right direction. We had a freeze again this morning, down to 30. That should be the last one. We topped out near 60 for us today. And look at the light showers across the region. These are mainly light. There's a few little pockets that are a little bit heavier, but most of this is fairly light, and that's what I expect to see as we go through the overnight hours tonight. Where you do see the yellows on the radar popping up, those are kind of light to moderate showers, but nothing strong, nothing severe. We don't have to worry about anything like that for us tonight. Just kind of hit and miss light showers all night long into the morning hours. We're going to continue to see these light showers. It's tomorrow afternoon, Dow, things will start to get a little bit more interesting. Showers, thunderstorms, stronger storms. So we're going to be talking about that here in just a bit.
All right, we'll catch you then. Thanks, Doug. Mourners today filled the Minneapolis Shiloh Temple International Ministries for Dante Wright's funeral. He's the driver pulled over last week in a traffic stop that turned deadly, setting off days of protests in the city already reeling after the death of George Floyd. Michael George is in Minneapolis with the latest.
Together in grief, Dante Wright's parents and a community shared their loss.
I never imagined that I'd be standing here. The roles should completely be reversed. My son should be burying me.
Words can't even explain how I feel right now. You know, that was my son.
As they remembered the 20-year-old gunned down by a police officer less than 2 weeks ago, his mom and uncle looked back to better days.
That smile, that laugh was there from day one.
When he walked in the room, he lit up the room.
The Reverend Al Sharpton said he heard someone compare Dante Wright's funeral procession to that of the musician Prince's here in Minneapolis 5 years ago.
Well, we came to bury the Prince of Brooklyn Center. We are going to make it against the law all over this country to keep bringing us to funerals for our young princes.
Wright was killed during a traffic stop in Brooklyn Center. Kimberly Potter, the former officer who shot Wright, now faces a second-degree manslaughter charge. The police chief, who also resigned, said Potter mistook her gun for a taser.
It's too often that traffic stops end up as deadly sentences. A death sentence.
Just 2 days after the murder conviction of Derek Chauvin, members of George Floyd's family attended the service. And Minnesota Representative Ilhan Omar gave Wright's parents the American flag that flew over the U.S. Capitol in his honor. Michael George, CBS News, Minneapolis.
Governor Walz, who attended the funeral, called on Minnesota's police licensing board to take immediate steps to increase trust and transparency in policing. The National Institutes of Health says it's testing a new experimental drug in severely ill coronavirus patients. The Phase 3 clinical trial includes patients hospitalized with life-threatening cases of COVID-19, including those with acute respiratory failure. The trial will test the drug Zizame and the antiviral remdesivir, both alone and in combination. The drugs will be tested for their safety and efficacy in hospitalized COVID-19 patients experiencing acute respiratory distress syndrome. Healthy people who continue to test positive for the coronavirus after recovering from COVID-19 do not appear to be infectious. That's what a new study based on NBA players and staff suggests. Among the more than 3,600 people in the NBA bubble last year, those who recovered from COVID-19 but still tested positive did not transmit the virus to others, despite many of them participating in unmasked activities like training and games after recovery. As for how long and how often the positive people continued testing positive, well, that varied, with positive tests persisting from 14 to 68 days from the date of the initial infection. But researchers found no incidents of a long-term positive person spreading the virus to others. Still ahead, on this Earth Day, President Biden hosts world leaders in a virtual climate summit as they discuss ways to combat climate change and the new inclusive addition coming to Landreth Park.
Only at Roper Honda.
As the U.S. marks its 51st Earth Day, President Biden kicked off day one of a two-day climate summit. The president has pledged the U.S. will cut greenhouse gas emissions by about half over the next 9 years, with a target of net zero emissions by 2050. President Biden also announced the creation of an international climate finance plan for public and private investment climate action goals.
This plan represents our vision for financing the global climate response in a coordinated way. It lays out specific steps that federal agencies of the United States will take to increase both the quality and quantity of climate financing.
The president and other world leaders also discussed providing funding to developing nations to help spur green growth. On this Earth Day, Pope Francis appealed for the world to take care of the biodiversity and nature. He made the comments in a video message released today. Speaking in Spanish, the pontiff spoke about the COVID-19 pandemic and the impact on nature and climate change it had when the world stopped. He said the global catastrophes of climate change and COVID-19 demonstrate that we have no longer time to waste. The Pope quoted an old Spanish saying in the video that says, God always forgives. We men forgive from time to time. Nature never forgives. Students at PSU are working on the school's first campus community green guide. The guide will serve as a tool to show what sustainability measures the university and local businesses have put into place. It'll also go through simple things that students and residents can do to be more green. The students working on the guide hope it'll transform from a class project into something that has a lasting impact on the community.
Sustainability isn't something huge that's unattainable and hard to do. You have to be rich or something. It's just like everyday practices that you can do that will benefit you, the university, and the community.
We believe that sustainability is the way of the future, and we hope that this guide is a step towards that.
The students will finish the guide next month with plans for it to be available to students and the public this fall. Missouri Southern students and staff got their hands dirty to keep things clean on this Earth Day. The Environmental Health and Safety Club hosted a campus cleanup event focused on the native tallgrass prairie, the cross-country course, areas along Turkey Creek and along Newman Road. The students and staff who volunteered were separated into 13 teams. When they finished, they took a photo of their completed work to be entered into a drawing for a $100 prize. An Earth Day event at Via Christi in Pittsburgh served two purposes. One, to add to our region's collection of beautiful trees. The second, as a living memorial. The trees planted today along the north end of the hospital's parking lot honor the lives lost during the pandemic. Via Christi's Earth Day event was live streamed on Facebook. A new and unique playground is about to open at Joplin's Landreth Park. KOAM's Mike Mahoney spoke to the city's Parks and Recreation Director to learn why they made the upgrade and what it means for the future of Joplin Parks.
Darla Wyatt is a Joplin mom who brings her kids to Landreth Park to play. And she says the brand new inclusive playground that's about to open at Landreth will make the popular park even better.
I think that's exciting. I definitely know parents that would take advantage of that and appreciate having a more disability-friendly park in this Joplin area.
So what exactly makes this playground inclusive? For starters, it's a lot easier to get on the playset.
The main thing that makes this inclusive is the ramp system. We have a ramp system that comes right off of the sidewalk. So it takes you right up into the playground itself.
Not only is the main playset wheelchair accessible, there are a number of fun things to do closer to the ground, including games and even a modernized classic.
Merry-go-round, which, back in the 70s when you were kids, we had those all over the place. So that one's really cool. Plus there's a chair that you can sit in that you can get your buddies to swing you in, and it spins you around.
This playset isn't Joplin's first foray with accessible amenities for 4-state youth. The accessible to all Will Norton Miracle Field has been a hit in Joplin for almost a decade. And Joplin's Parks and Rec wants Landreth Park and eventually all its parks to follow in the field's footsteps.
We're here for everyone, always have been, and changing some of our philosophies for the better, and when we say everyone, we mean everyone.
In Joplin, Mike Mahoney, KOAM News.
That new accessible playground at Landreth Park comes in at a cost of $72,000 with ADA compliant mulch that'll surround it. That's going to cost an additional $72,000. Later, the Carl Junction Bulldogs welcome in the #1 baseball team in the state. We're going to have highlights in sports.
Plus, rain has been increasing over the past couple hours, and that means thunderstorms tomorrow. Latest coming up. Well, of course, we had a cold start across the region, another freeze, and that should be our last one. But besides that, most of the day was pretty good. We did have a lot of clouds increase throughout the day, but still not a bad day as we did go right around 60 during the afternoon. Great time lapse, Indigo Sky, Casino and Resort, of course. Indigo, just outside of Seneca, Missouri. All right, temps right now, most of us are holding kind of in that 50 to 55 degree range. We'll drop off a couple more degrees, but that's going to be just about it. I think we're going to stay into the upper 40s with a south wind that has been increasing over the past couple hours, and this is really going to pick up as we work into tomorrow. With that, we'll keep our temperatures up just a little bit. Look at the bands of showers, very light rain rolling through. Nothing strong, nothing severe. We're not going to see anything like that tonight. Just the bands of light showers, really most of the area. Where you do see the yellows popping up on the radar, that is showing us kind of light to moderate, a little bit heavier pockets, but in general, this is just good old light rain. In fact, we can zoom in really from Pittsburgh, fairly light until you get down toward downstream, back toward Miami and through most of the south side of Joplin and Neosho. But again, these are going to be just light to moderate all night long tonight. We'll see this batch working through over the next 3 or 4 hours and then a little bit of a break late tonight. But our main system still way out to the west, way out across southern parts of Utah and Arizona. And that system is going to take about 36 hours to push through. So until it does, we're going to have the rain sticking around. Here's 1 a.m. Light showers, 4 a.m. Picking up a little bit tomorrow morning. Again, these are going to be very light, very hit and miss. We'll see them really all morning long, just kind of drizzle and light showers. And then it's the afternoon that things will start to really increase, especially after about 2 or 3 o'clock. Look at that thunderstorms blowing up. Here's 2:30. Some of these could pack a punch. Some of them could be decently strong, maybe even low-grade severe, which would mean winds in that kind of 50 to 60 mile per hour range and maybe some small hail, but mainly just heavy rain. But these are going to be showers and thunderstorms. And look at the pockets of thunderstorms all evening long through the evening hours into the overnight hours. So here's your forecast for you tomorrow. We're going to start the day at 48, 60 by noon, high temp is 66. A little bit warmer, but it's going to be a wet day, especially in the afternoon and evening. Through the overnight hours, showers, thunderstorms continue. Here's about midnight, and then most of the heavy rain is going to be out of here after midnight. But on the backside, we're still going to have these light showers lasting all the way into Saturday morning. I think if you have any outdoor plans on Saturday after 9 or 10 a.m., we should be in the clear and the weekend looks pretty good. But we're going to get a lot of rain. A lot of areas are going to pick up 1, 2, maybe isolated 3-inch amounts of rain from this storm system. But again, most of the weekend looks pretty good. Sunday into the 70s, lower 80s by Monday. Then here comes our next storm system. This is going to push in by Tuesday, and this is going to give us a pretty good shot that we're going to pick up strong to severe thunderstorms by Tuesday. That's a much better severe threat for us as we look down the road. 66 tomorrow, Saturday, 74 on Sunday, 82 on Monday. Thunderstorms back in Tuesday and Wednesday.
Possibly 3 inches of rain. That is a considerable amount. Yes, it is. Thanks, Doug. Coming up in sports, some exciting high school baseball matchups. Webb City looks to bounce back after taking just their 3rd loss of the season earlier this week. Plus, Carl Junction takes a crack at the #1 team in the state in Willard. Danny Terzer has the highlights next.
Today at amcorteamjoplin.com.
High school baseball has seen the midway point of the season come and go. Carl Junction has 11 wins through 15 games, including 6 of their last 8. Now, the Bulldogs have a big, maybe even their biggest test as they take the #1 team on in the state. Carl Junction hosts Willard today. We'll pick this one up in the 5th. Willard leads 3-2. 2 outs, wild pitch. Drew Bayer scores. Big tying run for the Bulldogs. Then 2 outs here for Willard. Runner on 3rd. The grounder and the throw to 1st. Keaton Johnston extends, foot on the bag. Huge play to prevent the run and keep it tied. Last chance for Carl Junction in the 7th. Noah Southern is the guy. Walk-off single for Southern. Cole Stewart scores the winning run. The Bulldogs go wild as they take down the #1 team in the state 4-3.
Noah's a good player and he's a good hitter, and you know that when he's at the plate there at the end and he's got the opportunity to do something, he's going to be in the right frame of mind and take advantage of opportunities, and he did that today. It was a great team win. Our guys did a great job playing for 21 outs and staying in a game and competing, and proud of our guys and the way they overcame some adversity early on, and truly you hope it's the momentum that carries you on to some other big games we have coming up.
Right behind Willard in the Class 5 rankings is the Webb City Cardinals at #2. Webb City and Willard squared off earlier this week, with Willard getting the 5-4 edge. The Cardinals were handed just their 3rd loss of the season. Today, they have a chance to bounce back against Branson. Here's Tragan Parker. Hits it to the second baseman. The Cards trade an out for a run. Devin Weathers scores to make it 1-0. Same inning, Matt Woodmansey goes deep. That's an RBI double. Shane Knoll rounding third and sliding home for the run. Later, Weathers again. He steals third here. Then Woodmansey pops this one up to the right. Does the job though to bring Weathers in. 3-0 Cards. Webb City finishes the job. They beat Branson 11-2. Today is the quarterfinal round of the NJCAA Men's Basketball Championship. Coffeyville is one of the 8 remaining teams, earning their spot after a dominating 95-56 win over Odessa in round 2. Coffeyville hits the floor against 24-1 NOC Tonkawa. The Red Ravens down by 7 at half. They turn this thing around, winning 83-80 in overtime. Markeith Browning posts a team-high 23 points in the win. They now advance to the semifinals tomorrow. That's a look at sports. We'll be right back with more news after this.
Take time to honor a local veteran. Sergeant John Freeman served in the U.S. Army during the Vietnam War. His hometown, Pitcher, Oklahoma, and we are proud to salute Sergeant John Freeman. He's tonight's 4-state hero. Checking back with Doug, just about all of us are getting at least a bit of rain right now, Doug.
Yeah, we are getting the light showers across the region, and this is going to continue as we go through the overnight hours for us tonight. However, it does look like by tomorrow afternoon we'll start to see heavier pockets of rain and even some thunderstorms, so we got to keep our eyes on that, but a lot of rain over the next 36 hours.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow. Let's take care of ourselves and each other.
If you see news happening, tell